it.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
YT isn't really into conservative bikes. Every one of them is made for some subgroup of shredder. The Jeffsy is their trail bike, and the Jeffsy 27.5 CF Pro is appropriately light and quick, but it has a unique taste for mischief. We brought it out to Park City, Utah to see what that taste meant on the trail.
So the YT Jeffsy is a medium travel 27.5.
Sort of a dying breed, you might say.
But yeah, we thought it was a really playful, fun bike. It's easily man-handleable or woman-handleable.
Well, you did notice, speaking of woman handling, that the sizing structure that YT does doesn't seem to cater that much to women.
Right, so there's 5 sizes. They go from a small to an extra, extra large. If it was trying to cater to women, it would have an extra small to an extra large. Just an interesting way of naming the sizes.
It is nice to see 5 different sizes with not big jumps in size, so you can really choose a bike to fit your preference, not necessarily just your body.
Indeed, and you know, there isn't really any reason not to have an extra small with a 27.5 platform of that travel, right?
Yeah, especially at this weight, because it's a lightweight, it's a playful bike. I thought it was really fun. But yeah, it's just an interesting call.
But that playful platform, I think that this is the platform that 27.5 shines the most in.
Yeah.
Where neither the travel nor the wheel size can be considered a handicap. They complement each other. So this had a lot of big BMX sensibilities. 430 rear end, which I think is pretty tight for like an aggressive bike with this much tire clearance. So it really spoke to what I like to do when I get on a 27.5 inch bike, which is kind of goof off.
That's exactly what I did. Yeah, it made me feel super goofy.
You're like flicking around in the parking lot, right?
I had a blast, yeah, you know, and like you said, the numbers hit the sweet spot for this bike in this travel range. It really did perform well. And speaking of the frame, I love the way this bike looks. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I think it's a handsome machine. It really is. It's got beautiful lines.
I mean, you can't really complain about like a cherry red bike, right? Like it looks fast, it looks fun.
So amid those lines is almost enough room for a regular water bottle.
Yes.
There's enough room for a Fidlock water bottle.
Right.
So 20 ounces is kind of where they'll top off at. And they're a little bit difficult to reach down.
Well, you're saying they're fiddly.
They're a little fiddly, yeah.
Which is an interesting point, right? Because I don't know if this is necessarily like a bike park bike. It's probably a bike you're going to want to take on like long days, and it's something you'd have to have like a hydration pack or a fanny pack.
Yeah. So how does it handle those long days? How does it climb?
So it has it's got flip chips, so you can adjust the geo. So in the slack setting, which I think we all agreed is the proper setting.
Proper.
The right one.
Yeah, it's a 76.5 seat angle, which for a pretty supportive 150 mil bike, I think is indeed proper. I
could, you know, live in Colorado. I could pedal it uphill all day. May not be the fastest. Don't care. Right? It's just a comfortable place to spend some time. That's important.
Yeah, I think the seated pedaling definitely was superior to the standing pedaling. It got a little bit bobby when you really were like putting input. Putting put in. When you were getting really active climbing, it definitely bobbed. But I don't think that was a deal breaker because it gives you a light perception. It feels lively.
Well, and it feels really lively on the descents. It's got a progressive feeling suspension, back to that sort of BMX feel, and the 27.5 inch wheels. I feel like it really invited a lot of rider input. Like it really wanted you to take control. And again, that's what these 27.5 inch bikes I think are gonna be best at. It's not trying to be apologetic for that 27.5 inch. It's like leaning into it and like, like let's party.
Exactly, you know, and something that you and I both did is that we reduced air pressure in that shock and used a little bit more sag and then a little bit more sag and maybe a little bit more, because there's quite a bit of ramp at the end of that stroke, which is nice. So you sort of have your cake and eat it too, right? You can have a little bit lower pressure for some small bump sensitivity and not feel like you're going to bottom it out. We didn't. I mean, you had to keep letting pressure out to get the travel out of it because it's so supportive, right?
Speaking of lower pressure, we ran into something before we even took this bike out on the trail. So it's a consumer direct bike, just like the viewers at home would. We got it in a box in YT's really nicely put together box. Comes with tools, comes with pretty extensive instructions. It's not set up tubeless, but nobody's going to give you a bike set up tubeless out of a box. So pulled the tubes out, set them up, and the tires that we got were defective.
It's just crying sealant.
Yeah. This is something that you have to know is a potential issue when you're getting consumer direct bike. If you bought a bike like this at a bike shop, either they may have set it up tubeless off the floor, or once you bought it and you would have realized it before you got out the door. Or if you did it yourself, you could just go right back to the shop, and if they're worth their salt, they would give you a new set of tires. And I did a little bit of secret shopper, called them up, did not set on hold. I reached somebody right away, and they said, oh, like, this is what will happen.
What exactly would happen is they'd 2-day air a new set of E13 tires to us. Same goes for the E13 dropper that went bad later in the trip. Now, YT couldn't get specific, but there will likely be a change in spec in the soon-to-come 2020 Jeffsy. But the newly updated frame will carry over, and we think it's pretty dialed.
Small details, right? I always seem to gravitate towards those. I don't know why. I work on a lot of bikes, but when a company produces a frame and they have serviceability in mind, I'm like, yeah, that's great, right? Because they've done that with the way the bearings are serviced on that. They try to make them all serviceable from one side of the bike, which that makes sense.
On the Jeffsy?
On the Jeffsy, yeah. I like that. I like it when that is a forethought, not an afterthought, and that, to me, adds value.
So pinpointing value of the 2019 bike that we rode, this is a $4,000 bike, and we sort of noticed that after the initial disruption of consumer direct bikes coming on the market, we've seen them creeping up a little bit in price, and we've seen traditional brands kind of creeping down. So this bike at 4K, there's a new Mojo HD5 for only a few $100s more. That's not that far off in spec.
Right.
We've done a few examples that I'm not going to remember right now.
But it makes you really consider the value you're getting when you go to a bike shop and you get that personal interaction and that sort of guarantee that you're going to have support when things go wrong, right? Things that you can't necessarily fix yourself. Or whether it's worth it to have that like convenience and fast, like one-click experience, right?
Now, we always talk about the consumer direct trend when YT comes up, but we didn't think about how you buy a Jeffsy while we were riding it. We thought about why you buy one. It'll pass as a versatile, even normal feeling trail bike, but beyond that, it's only limited by your imagination. We've got the written review and the rest of the roundtable videos at bikemag.com.